Hello Multiverse, welcome to Omniverse Gamers. My name's Damian Bazzaio. This video is going to dissect another dynamic encounter. I'm going to call this one Wraith Starfish Balance. This encounter's from the Pirates of the Ashen Sea. So they're basically going to this island that one group had gone to and they didn't come back from. They found this one person from that crew dead in a boat. He had this bottle with these two notes in it. And one of the notes was this poem that was kind of cryptic and kind of like clues to what they experienced on the island. So they had this one of the notes had this little poem in it, and I'll read a little excerpt from it. It's spirits walk by night and they swim by day, but at midnight and noon for a time they obey. Our mission was doomed while the magnolia bloomed. The nature of this island in the balance it does loom. And then there's a couple other things that it alludes to it that aren't relevant to this encounter. But anyway, so that was just a clue of what to expect on this island. So with the thing that they needed nature, the captain decided to hire this druid, which was our new player who is a druid. He joined. It's just a way to get his character into the game and make him, welcome to the game, kind of thing. And it was just a cool. This map is really cool. And I had an idea and I wanted to use it. So actually, let me show you. Let me switch over. So I call this Magnolia Island, and this map was made by Chepeku. He's really awesome. He let me, use this and film it and all that stuff. I'll leave a link to his Patreon down below. He has a lot of cool maps that are, you're going to see a lot of his maps because I use a lot of them. They're really cool. So as you can see, that it's this thing, and there's actually two versions of this map, which is what gave me the idea for this encounter. There's this pink. I call it Magnolia Island. But there's also a green version. And let me show you that one. And at the end of this encounter, when they succeed, if they succeed, the pink is like this corruption. And when they succeed at the encounter, it's going to turn back to green, and the nature is going to be balanced again. That was my whole, thing that this happened. So anyway, so as you can see, they're approaching. They do their normal approach of the island. They kind of, I describe these two, the dock and the how the island's kind of like sideways a little bit, and they eventually attentively get a little closer, and they inspect it. They see this mud kind of lining the island, and it's like these two lines of mud, almost as like if somebody was dragging their feet through the mud. And then there's these two holes, kind of like rings of mud that are kind of like you see a gopher dig, it's two little holes, but there's no hole. It's just like a pile of mud in these two sections. And then so they're exploring. They get closer, and they eventually they dock their boat on these two little pods, these two little poles. So when they jump off the boat onto the island, this whole thing falls into the water. The whole island tilts underwater, and it washes all the mud away. So all their clues are kind of gone. The whole island tilts. It's on like a gimbal. This whole setup thing is on a gimbal, and that's where the balance comes in. So they're like, "Whoa, what's that?" They instantly are like, "What? What the hell?" So they're going exploring. They find this big giant statue. It looks like a monolith, and they realize it looks like a thumb. And they also find these little Buddha dudes sitting all around the island, and they got these little Buddhas, and they have like the Chinese rice hats, but the hats are off some of their heads. Like their heads are flat, and it's like a hi hat of a drum. The hats are above their head, where some hats are right on their head, some hats are a little bit, and they eventually realize that these things are they're like screws. They screw down and they screw up. They don't find that out till later, but these things are basically they're on like as the island rocks, the hi hats stay where they are, and the little statues rock with the island. So if they tighten it down, they realize they can stop the motion basically. But they don't figure that out for a while anyway. So they're kind of they're exploring this island, and they find the whole hand. And they find this little room, and they're just kind of exploring. They find that the tracks go all the way around, basically the whole island. And they're just kind of, and they know from the poem, they chose to go at midnight. So at midnight and noon, for a time, they obey. The spirits, they know that spirits walk here, but at midnight and noon, they have an unknown amount of time where they're okay to explore like this. So that's the information that they're working off. So the Goliath over here, he's standing there because he's kind of balancing as they're walking over here. The thing's rocking and everything. So he's just kind of trying to make sure the balance isn't too crazy. So they're exploring, and eventually they discover all the little Buddha heads that they need. Then they see down here there's another island, and I described it as this bridge not actually being here. It's broken. It's not connected to the other side. This island's on a gimbal, and the other island's up above higher, and they can't really get to it. It's kind of video gamey. This whole encounter is kind of video gamey, but that was kind of like the whole point. So they're exploring, and then they start the little. All of a sudden, they hear this moaning, and the mud kind of comes up out of the ground. And these I basically call them clay wraiths. They're basically like the wraiths with their golems, or clay golem wraiths, basically. And they just start walking in this circle. They're just walking in the circle. But then they notice the party, and they just start attacking. They're here. They enemy don't disturb our island. And they just start fighting. And then as they're fighting and moving island, the whole island's, rocking and going crazy. Eventually, when they kill, they're fighting these golem, these mud golem things, which are basically just wraiths with some mud golem slam powers. There wasn't much to them, because they were just the opening salvo basically. So they're fighting these things, and they eventually vanquish them. And as they vanquish the last one, in the middle of this little pool kind of here has been kind of just disturbing every now and then. It kind of makes a bubble or whatever. So they kind of get the idea there's something in there, but foreshadowing. They don't, it's not there till it's there. And then as they kill the last Mudman, this corrupted starfish pops right out and just like, and they're just like, holy crap! And they just start fighting it. And it says this starfish represents the corruption of this island. This is what's creating anytime they touch a leaf, it like falls apart, and it's like it's all weird and corrupted. So they were fighting the starfish, and the starfish. So I just have this is what I call I just call it a corrupted starfish. It's basically a starfish. It has multi-attack. It's got one attack per tentacle. It's got grapples, bludgeoning. It can put people in its mouth, and it can bite them and grapple them and keep them in its mouth and like just crush on them. So it's just your basic tentacle slashing grappling monster that I use a lot. But it was just, its own little flavor because it had this corruption stuff to it. And so they fought it. And like I said, this was some people's first session in this game. So I didn't want it to be too crazy, but also, be fun and challenging. And they eventually ended up vanquishing this star. And as they killed it, the last second, they kill it. And it like just shrinks into nothing. It shrinks into like this withered thing. And the island just instantly switches to the green map. All the corruption goes away, and the island blooms again in nature. And the druid kind of feels the balance of nature coming back. And then they have to, but then they still don't have a bridge down here, so they have to figure out. They basically have to get on the islands and balance it and make it go up and down. And they can, as they turn little heads, they can tighten down certain spots. They don't wiggle anymore. And then they can, keep. Eventually, they get the island to be still. And then once they get the island they have to keep adjusting it. And they kind of, one of them's over here by the bridge, like eyeing the other bridge. And when they get the bridges to be just aligned and just right, and they screw down all the little Buddha heads, then the bridge magically, like the magical thing, just kind of connects the two bridges. And then the next island is going to be available. It's a Westmarsh, so everything's incremental. So the next time when they come back, they're going to have access to the bigger island up above. And it's going to be that much more powerful and that much more dangerous, and there's going to be more corruption up there. And like this whole island is basically a corrupted nature. Every island's got its own feel, and this is basically the island of corruption, corrupted nature. So yeah, that was just a really simple encounter on a really cool map, and I just used a balancing technique. And every once in a while, when they would get thrown so much, I'd make them roll an athletics check, or they'd get thrown. I was trying to get them to rock so much that they got thrown into the pool, so I could attack them early. But they were very careful. They made really good athletics checks, so I just kind of waited with the starfish until all the mud guys were gone, and then he came up and just a way to. We finally got this last mud guy, and then oh no, you're not done yet. Here's a starfish. That's we're gonna wreck you, and he will come wreck your boat if you don't kill him. You're not gonna get out of here because he will destroy your boat. And so they had to So I just ended up being really fun, really quick, simple, but it kind of like all tied in together. It was a kind of a simple combat. Wasn't very too much dynamic to it, but because of the gimbal and because of the puzzle going on and the combat going on at once, it just made it kind of super fun. So I hope you see how that worked. I hope that inspires you guys in your own games. We are Omniverse Gamers. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Hope to see you soon, and keep on gaming.